There is this thing with memory and custom instructions. I actually don't recommend using memory in ChatGPT,
Really?
especially, yeah, especially if you are using it also for your clients. So you don't want to train ChatGPT on your business if you have clients and have to create content for their business.
I see.
Like,
Welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast, the podcast for women building their dreams while balancing work, family, and all the things. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, a wife, mom, marketer, and your side hustling friend here to teach you how to grow a brand that works for you and not the other way around. Whether you're a side hustling pro or just starting out, this is your safe place for real talk, actionable strategies, and the encouragement you need to keep going. We're here to help you make progress and not perfection. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's build your dream one step at a time. Hey, welcome back to the Side Hustler Podcast. I'm so excited for today's episode because this is going to be for all of my solopreneurs, my mama CEOs, my overachievers who are trying to do all the things but just feel like there isn't enough hours in the day. If you've been curious or maybe even overwhelmed by how AI works or how to use ChatGPT and how to actually use it for your business, then this episode is going to be for you. So, in today's episode, I'm sitting down with the amazing Irena, who is also known online as the Solo Genius. She's a ChatGPT and small business strategist who helps solopreneurs simplify their workflows, save time, and grow with the help of AI. As a mom of three and a longtime business owner herself, Irena gets it. And that's why she's made it her mission to show you how to turn ChatGPT into your personal assistant for content, for sales, and for streamlining your entire business. We actually connected on Threads a couple months ago. Shout out to the algorithm. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with the way that she breaks down ChatGPT in a way that you can actually use it, but it also makes it easy to understand and easy to use. So, in this episode, you're going to learn the real way to train ChatGPT to sound just like you and support your business. You're going to learn what kind of tasks you can delegate to ChatGPT to save time and energy, how to overcome fear or overwhelm around using AI, why content creation is just the starting point of using AI, and how to start implementing AI across your entire business. Irena is also going to share the number one prompt that she uses to kickstart every new chat and how to build her own chat GPT. So, trust me, this conversation is packed with practical takeaways, mindset shifts, and a whole lot of encouragement for all of my fellow one women shows out there. So, grab your notebook and let's dive into how to make ChatGPT your new business bestie. Before we dive into today's episode, I have something special for all of my side hustlers out there. Are you building a business while working a 9 to 5 and you're tired of wasting time on marketing strategies that don't actually move the needle? Then you're going to want to get plugged into my weekly newsletter. Every single week, I'm giving you the real behind the scenes scoop on what's actually working in marketing and business. No fluff, no gatekeeping. Just real strategies, insights I'm testing in my own business, and practical tips that you can apply right away. If you want to work smarter and not harder and finally start seeing momentum, then head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/newsletter and get locked in. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Hello, Irena, and welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast.
hi, Carlisa. Glad to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here. So, just a little brief intro. We actually connected on Threads because I was looking for some people to talk about Chat GPT, and many people had tagged you on my post and told me that you were like the Chat GPT queen. And so, I'm super excited to have you here so we can talk all things AI. And I know when we briefly had our discussion a couple weeks ago, our coffee chat, you were telling me about, all of the things that have happened leading up to you becoming a chat GPT and business strategist. And so I wanted to give you some time to kind of introduce yourself and tell us about your story. How did you land on being a small business strategist and specializing in chat GPT? Take us back to where you first began.
Yeah. So I started this online business, online thing. It wasn't a business when I started. It was just a thing. I think 9 years ago. Yes, it was 9 years ago when I had my third child. And here where I live, when you have your third child, you have 3 years of maternity leave. So I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something beside being with my kid. So I started a blog. I didn't know anything about online world. I just knew, okay, people write these blogs.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get into the online space, you really learn so much and you see so many things that you can do. And I always had this entrepreneurial spirit in me that wanted to really do something, have something of my own. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a blog and I discovered Etsy, and I started Etsy while having a blog, and the Etsy thing was huge. It was huge and a huge success, and I learned so much from it, mostly about having your email list, not
Mm-hmm.
relying on the algorithm,
Yeah.
which I did wrong. I didn't have my email list. I did rely completely on the algorithm. So basically you learn so much.
Yeah.
And the biggest struggle always for me was Instagram. Instagram was this beast I had to tame.
Mm.
And it was always so time consuming and energy draining and all the bad words you can say. That was Instagram for me. So when ChatGPT came, I was determined to make it work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to learn how it works just for Instagram. That was my
Mm-hmm.
goal for Instagram. And when I started using it, I was like, my God, I need to tell the whole world about this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I had my own Shopify store at the moment. And it was like I got an offer for that Shopify store. And that was a sign for me to, okay, you can move to another thing and teach other female solopreneurs like yourself who have all these other things going on in their lives
Mm-hmm.
about ChatGPT and how they can use it to make their lives easier. So that's actually how I got into ChatGPT and into this business.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. And I really love how you were talking about, you had kids and you were like, I have to do something else because, whenever you become a mom, I feel like there's like a driving force that like pushes you to, want more, do more, think bigger, think larger. Like I was talking about on threads literally last night about like, when I became a mom, like I just started thinking differently and I wanted more from life, not much so for myself, but just so that I can position myself to do more for my kid. And so I love that you talked about how, you had your third kid and you're like, hey, like I want something more out of life than just, being a mom. And so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's really inspiring to hear that. And so is that the thing that kind of forced you or pushed you to focus more so on helping female solopreneurs?
Yes, because us women, we lead different lives than
Yeah.
men. We have different worries. Our mind is different. We have so much guilt inside us, especially moms. Even the guilt that really doesn't exist, we just put it ourselves there.
Yeah.
No one does it for us. We just do it. And it's completely different when men tell you, yeah, you can do it. You just go there, do that. No, that you don't have any idea what goes through my mind.
Yeah.
It's never just do this
Yeah.
for women. It's never
Yeah.
just do this. We have so many things going through our head, and
Yeah.
I know what it is, and I can understand that because that's who I am. So I really
Mhm.
wanted to focus really on female solopreneurs or freelancers who work alone.
Mhm.
That's the deal. That's the thing. They need to work alone, and we want to do so many things, but there's just not enough time. And
Yeah.
ChatGPT is a revolution. It's
Mhm.
revolution. I think it's the same revolution as when internet came.
Yeah.
I think
For
it's that
sure.
big of a deal.
For sure.
So I really want to use that for my business and help everyone who wants to succeed in business. And just one more thing I want to say regarding moms, I think it's a great thing if someone wants to be a stay-at-home mom, just mom, as people like to say it. It's never just mom.
Mm-hmm.
Being just mom, that phrase shouldn't exist. Just
Mm-hmm.
mom. Those words
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't come next to each other. So I think that's great. I just have this something in me that want to do more.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And so with that being said, I want to talk about, mompreneurship, female solopreneurship. Most of the time we find ourselves, feeling like we have to do everything alone. And so like you said, when ChatGPT came out, it's literally changing the way that we do things in general, just do life in general. And so I want to talk about some key tasks that some solopreneurs can use or that they can leverage with ChatGPT. Like, what are some of the most frequent tasks that people can use ChatGPT for within their business?
Yeah, well, definitely, and the most obvious one would be content creation, right?
Hmm.
For Instagram, for blogs, emails, any social media platform. That's the most obvious one, but also one that really is most helpful because content creation is for most solopreneurs most time consuming task.
Yeah.
So it can really save so much time and give you freedom for other aspects of your business.
Hmm. Hmm.
That would be obvious thing and the most common thing, but also other things like some tasks that we don't know how to do, then we don't feel like doing, but should be done, like tracking metrics for
Hmm.
Instagram. We
Hmm.
Most of us just look at it and okay, what does that mean? Did that real was that real good because the hook was good, or it was trending audio, or it was this? So many questions, and you can just
Hmm.
put it into ChatGPT and it will analyze your metrics for you.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
that's amazing. That's really amazing. But really, if you just start with content creation, that alone is, if someone asked us 2 years ago before ChatGPT was here to only use it for content creation, we would be like, yes, please give us that.
No, I love that because I truly feel like ChatGPT definitely cuts like the amount of time that it takes for me to create content like down significantly. And not necessarily like, and another thing that I want to mention is like when we're talking about content creation, because I think a lot of people think like content creation, me in front of the camera, but it's not necessarily that. It's like, coming up with marketing emails, coming up with blogs, coming up with scripts for your podcast, outlines, things of that sort. It's all types of different, content. It's not just very, very much so video
Yes,
content. And so I think about how many, like back then, how long it could possibly take to do half of the stuff that I do. Like, I mean, even today, like with my podcast, like I can easily, knock out 4 podcast ideas, outline them, have them all scripted up within like a couple of minutes. Whereas before, like you were having to like literally manually go in and type your thoughts and, run, like do your Google research. And so I truly, truly love using ChatGPT. And I feel like that's most of like, if I could go through my ChatGPT threads, I think like at least 90% of them have something to do with content. Whereas like the other 10% is probably like ideation and like talking through different ideas, brainstorming things. But like most of my threads are more so geared towards content, whether that's email, podcast, blogs, captions, all kinds of things. So I love that you
yes,
mentioned that because you're right. Like a lot of people spend a lot of time on marketing their business. They spend most of their time marketing their business. And what do you use to market your business? Content. So it just makes sense that that is one of the key way that people typically like to use chat gpt in their business. And so I want to talk about for someone that is at the beginning of their journey as an entrepreneur and they may not really be have been leveraging ChatGPT the way that it should be. Like where can they start when it comes to using ChatGPT for their business?
yeah. Well, I would suggest most people feel overwhelmed with ChatGPT and
Mhm.
so many possibilities. But if we just put everything aside and focus on what's the most time consuming task to you, or energy draining, or something that you know you have to do but you avoid doing, uh, start with that. Simple as that. Just start with that. There's no way you can start using ChatGPT and know everything about ChatGPT.
Mhm.
So just start
Mhm.
from yourself. Start what will be most helpful to you at that moment. So
Yeah.
if you're starting out, maybe you need your Instagram bio. Okay, start
Mhm.
with that. Maybe you're not clear, okay, what would be my title for my business, or what would be the name of my shop? Use it for that. Those little things, and slowly but surely you will get how ChatGPT works, and learn to ask it even more questions and go even deeper.
Yeah, that's really good. That is really good. I know when we first connected, you were talking about utilizing prompts when you first start using ChatGPT so it can kind of like get a sense of who you are, what you do, how you do it, like your signature framework, all of those things. And so I want to talk about what are some of the best prompts that you can start implementing in ChatGPT so it can start to get to know you and the cadence that you have within your business so that when you actually use it, it doesn't sound like a robot. It actually sounds like you, a human.
Yeah. So I have this prompt that I call it a brand Kickstarter prompt. And it's a prompt that tells ChatGPT all about my business.
Mhm.
So I have it ready. I have it in a document. And whenever I start a new chat, I start with that prompt. It's a super long prompt that tells ChatGPT who I am, what I do, who I do it for. So my audience, not just demographic, but go a bit deeper about your
Mhm.
audience, my offers, my products, along with the prices, along with description of the products, so ChatGPT can understand even better what do you do, my lead magnets, my values, and also my brand voice.
Mhm.
And I tell it what emojis I use mostly, what kind of words and phrases. Of course, there even more in-depth way of
Yeah.
training ChatGPT to learn about your business, but that is the prompt I start with,
Mhm.
and it immediately knows everything about my business. And of course, just think about when we speak to ChatGPT. Think about what would you, if it doesn't get it, if the result wasn't as you expected, something is missing from your prompt,
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
is missing there, you didn't explain it well. So again, go back to your prompt and edit it, or explain, no, that's not what I had in mind, this is what I had in mind, give example of something, and it will learn all about you. Even from that way you talk to him in that prompt, no, 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 that's not what I meant, and it will get your tone even
Yeah.
from that, without explaining. So give context. That's also one important thing, to provide context. What are you talking about? What do you want? For example, you want your Instagram bio. I mentioned that, so let's go back to that. I want an Instagram bio, and you can assume that ChatGPT knows what a great Instagram bio should have, but don't assume.
Mhm.
Tell it. Tell it, I want the first line to be this. I want it to be build authority. I want to have a call to action to your specific thing, or give me
Mhm.
ideas based on what you know where it should be, lead the call to action. So really provide context and tell it, I want my bio to say this and that.
Y'all already know I'm all about working smarter and not harder, especially when it comes to marketing your brand. And if you're still relying only on social media to reach your audience, we need to fix that immediately. Social media is cute, but let's be real, the algorithm is unpredictable, and your content is probably only reaching a small percentage of your followers. That's why I swear by email marketing, because when I send an email, I know 100% of my subscribers are getting my messages. And the best part, Flowdesk makes it ridiculously easy. You can send beautiful on brand emails, automate your sequences, and even create landing pages without needing to be tech savvy. And because you're listening, I got you a deal. Use my code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout and you'll get 50% off your Flowdesk subscription for the next 12 months. So if you're ready to stop relying on algorithms and start building a email list that actually converts, try Flowdesk for free. And don't forget to use the code SciHustle at checkout for that exclusive 50% off. I love that. I love that because a lot of people sometimes think that, once you get your response from ChatGPT, like that's just what you have to stick with and run with. But it's like, it's a lot of like refining and going back and forth to perfect the response that you get. Sometimes like I am not a fan of the ChatGPT emojis. So I'm like, remove all the emojis. And, that doesn't sound like me. Like, I don't say those words. Like, I was thinking more so this. And so sometimes you may have to, go back and forth a couple times for it to actually like start to get to know you, start to get to know how you speak, start to get to understand what words you use, the tone that you use, the type of person, like as far as personality goes. And so I think that, when you're first starting out, it's important for you to start programming it in this way. Now, I know a lot of people may think that it sounds, really creepy that you're like going back and forth with like a robot essentially, but it really does. Once you actually put it, what people need to understand is whatever you put into it is what you'll get out of it. So if you don't put in
Mhm.
an effort into the prompts or into, the input or the content that you're putting inside of ChatGPT, then you're going to get a generic response. But if you're more intentional about, the words that you're using, the lingo that you're using, the framework that you're discussing, like you were talking about, telling it like, hey, I don't really like this, or this is what I was thinking, like the better
Mhm.
responses that you will receive over time. Like nowadays, I don't really have to do much when it comes to me starting a new thread because me and ChatGPT, like, we're like best of friends now.
Besties.
Like, yes. So I don't really necessarily have to introduce myself all the time or tell them like this is my tone or this is my business because it already knows. Plus, I really love the fact that it has like the little memory feature so you can tell it to remember these things so that way you don't have to keep starting from scratch. Like, hey ChatGPT, my name is Carlissa and I have this business and
Yeah,
this is my
but
mission.
there is this, yeah, but there is this thing with memory and custom instructions. I actually don't recommend using memory in ChatGPT,
Really?
especially, yeah, especially if you are using it also for your clients. So you don't want to train ChatGPT on your business if you have clients and have to create content for their business.
I see.
Like, so you don't want to do that. Also, if you use memory, if you have your memory turned on, you should be going to your memory and check what it's remembered and
Yeah.
what do you want it to remember. So for me, even if you're using it just for your business, I prefer, like, let's say for your podcast, you already have so many, I believe, chats, threads in ChatGPT for your podcast. You can
Yeah.
create a project. You can add all those chats into projects and
Mhm.
train that project specifically for your podcast.
Mhm.
And that way you are completely in control of what ChatGPT remembers about your podcast,
About that
and
project.
not but yes, and not maybe use some. Maybe you have many projects, even if you use it for yourself. Maybe you have this podcast. Maybe you have an Etsy shop. Maybe you're doing something else and maybe you use it for your kids or something too. And it uses the memory that from your podcast, and that's not what you want.
Yeah.
And when it's really easy to train it like that with that prompt, and I have that's actually I have this freebie. It's called ChatGPT Brand Builder that helps you create that huge prompt. I just use that. I just use that, and I have files ready, so it's completely streamlined. I have files ready with with my huge prompt, brand Kickstarter
Mhm.
prompt. I have my captions in a document that I just upload to GPT, and it immediately knows everything about how I sound. Not just how I sound, but if you upload many captions or Instagram posts, it also gets your ideas, your
Mhm.
values, your way of thinking, and it can create posts based on your previous post, like new angles. It just takes the way you think.
Yeah.
So I prefer training it the way I wanted to train it.
Yeah. I like that you say that because you're right. I saw on ChatGPT like there was a new feature like when you open up ChatGPT and it like gives you like rules for like the projects like you were stating where you can like, tell it like, in this project this is the rule that you want it to follow. And so even it was in the ChatGPT app and I'm like, "What is this? This is a new feature." So I really like how you said that with the folders or with the projects, like you can program that project to have certain rules or a certain
Mm-hmm.
aligned messaging or prompt to follow with all the content
Mm-hmm.
that's within that project. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I want
Mm-hmm.
to talk about how a lot of people are experiencing like fear behind AI and like are not really wanting to leverage AI because it's a scary thing. I mean, it is kind of scary if you think about it, but it's like I truly feel
Let's
that
not think about it.
yeah, no, I hear you. I truly feel that, if you are on this train of not using AI, like you will find yourself getting left behind because AI is just like you were saying, it's like the evolution of the internet. Like when the internet came, it was like, a game changer to the world. It's like we were
Mm-hmm.
so addicted. Now it's like if the Wi-Fi goes out for like 20 minutes, we're going crazy. And so
Mm-hmm.
I want to
Yeah.
talk about like how can some people who are feeling overwhelmed from AI, like how can they overcome their fears and really tap in? Or what should they do to overcome their fear of being, part of this AI evolution?
Yeah, well, I completely understand the fear of this of AI, and everybody is talking about it. And the way our world goes, a lot of people are talking about negative sides of
Mhm.
AI. But when we think about it, really, there are many negative sides of internet,
Mhm.
like having a phone, like having internet on your phone, our kids having internet on their phone. So there
Yeah.
are many negative sides of any great thing.
Mhm.
And there's really nothing we as individuals can do about it. But we cannot ignore AI. It's
Yeah.
just simply, I mean, for everyone who doesn't want to use AI, that's completely okay. But
Mhm.
we need to be aware that a lot of people will use AI and they will be able to create things faster than the people who don't use AI.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's just a fact. That's just a fact. And there are there are ways in ChatGPT where we can turn off memory. That's one way of handling what ChatGPT and AI knows about you. We can, of course, also be very mindful of the things of course, we won't write, I don't know, our address in
Yeah.
GPT and the name of my kids, and I can put the names of my kids, but not our social
Personal
security number.
information. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's of course a big no. But on the business side and brainstorming side and like chatting with ChatGPT, I think we're really completely okay with that.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. And so I know that in your community, you talk about using ChatGPT as a business asset rather than just it being a tool. And so I want to talk about some long term AI strategies that solopreneurs could or should start thinking about of how to leverage AI in their businesses.
Yeah, so well, that would be really just starting in implementing ChatGPT throughout their entire business, not
Hmm.
just content creation. And don't get me wrong, starting with content creation is completely okay with creating content. That's great. But there are so many other ways, as I mentioned, tracking, analyzing your metrics, like for example, or creating Google Sheets to organize your business. The other day, I did for myself, I created a Google dashboards for my business.
Mm.
And ChatGPT helped me step by step. I didn't know anything about how to create that. I
Yeah.
was asking it question. I even said, I know this sounds stupid, but what is that? Of course, he said, no, that's not stupid at all. So there are so many ways to really use it for creating welcome sequences and then putting
Mhm.
them into your email service providers and automate that completely that part of your business.
Yeah.
Replying to customer questions, creating FAQs documents, creating like standard operating procedures. Like for example, I have a club, I have a ChatGPT solopreneur club that I open every few months. And I created with ChatGPT like that, it's called standard operating procedure, SOP, to what I do, what I have to do, because I can't remember in 2 months every single detail I did 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So it just creates it for me. And then, and next, now every time I'm launching a club and I'm opening the doors, I just check the boxes in that file. So it really streamlines entire business, whatever you do.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
I
that's
really like that. I like how you talk about with the SOPs because that was one thing that I think I sat down and did with ChatGPT. Like I ran out wrote out SOPs for like every single thing, and I created a folder where I keep all of these things. So not only for me to refer back to, but later on if you decide to hire an assistant or someone to help you,
exactly.
you have those documents
You're
of your
ready.
processes to where you can continue that same experience, whether it's, you doing it or your assistant doing it or whoever you have helping you. And it's
Mhm.
actually more refined to where you're making sure that that experience is carried out from each client that crosses or enters through your virtual doors of your business. I love that.
Mhm.
I love that. No, that's really good. And I also love how you were talking about like not only just focusing on content creation for AI, because I think that that's typically where a lot of people like to spend time, but it's like even with streamlining your welcome sequences and helping you to refine your lead magnets things. And like for me, I like to come up with the concept first rather than like allowing ChatGPT to come up with the concept for me, because I think that's where it kind of gets a little sticky, where it's like if you are coming up with the content yourself and using ChatGPT to refine it, that's completely different than getting ChatGPT to do everything for you, because people can tell when something is like fully written
Absolutely.
with AI versus when something is, has that human touch. That's something that you can't replicate.
And you said it perfectly. That's also one of the ways to keep ChatGPT personal and authentic. You train it
Mhm.
with not just about your business, but your skills, your
Yeah.
framework, your knowledge, your strategies. And that's how you make it work really for you. Not just telling it what to do, but teaching ChatGPT what to do. And then just, I say knowledge is our superpower.
Yeah.
And when ChatGPT does that, knows that, it will execute brilliantly.
Yes, yes, yes. No, that's really good. So I know that we are coming to a close, but I did want to give you some time to share a piece of advice that you would give to a solopreneur who wants to use ChatGPT in their business, but they aren't sure where to start.
Yeah, I love this. I love when people are in that, okay, I want, but I don't know where to start. First, think about what is the most time consuming and energy draining task in your business. Think about that. And then start asking ChatGPT how to solve that. And then after that, go and download my ChatGPT brand builder and create your prompt about your business so you can see the difference it made when you just started as your own and when you train it about your business. It's a
Mm,
huge difference. And then I guarantee you will fall in love with ChatGPT and it will be your best friend in everything you do in your business.
I love that. I love that. And where can people go and find your brand builder prompt so that way they can start to use that in their business right now?
It's on my website, thesologenius.com. Also, it's on my Instagram at the.sologenius. It's in link in bio. It's called ChatGPT Brand Builder. It's free. People say it's worth $400 because it really is so good. And I made it free just so I can freely talk about it without selling and helping really people to train ChatGPT.
Irena, you're so amazing. And I feel like
Thank
a lot of
you.
people are going to really get some gems and key takeaways on how to implement ChatGPT in their business. And so, if you're still with us, make sure that you go and grab the brand builder prompt from Irena's page so that way you can actually start to program ChatGPT to sound like you and then start implementing it into your business so that way you can be more efficient and save more time as a solopreneur. Thank you so much, Irena, for joining me today on the Side Hustler podcast.
I had so much fun. Thank you for inviting me to be your guest.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Side Hustler podcast. I hope you're leaving here today feeling inspired and ready to take your next step. If you love this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another side hustler who needs to hear it. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Carly Dorlin. I'd love to hear about your side hustling journey. Remember, you're doing better than you think, and your dreams are so worth it. Until next time, keep hustling, sis. You got this.